You know, in the grand story of modern history, there are a few chapters as defiant, as improbable as the story of Cuba. We're talking about a revolution that for over half a century has just refused to fade away. It's this incredible geopolitical anomaly, standing firm against the tide, just 90 miles from the world's biggest superpower. So that's the central mystery we're really going to dig into. I mean, how has this tiny island managed it? What powerful forces, both on its own soil and thousands of miles away, have kept this unique political experiment alive against every single odd? Okay, so the first piece of this puzzle, and it's a big one, is the spirit of the revolution itself. You have to understand, this isn't just a political system, it's an ideology. It's an idea that has been hammered by invasion, by economic collapse, by relentless pressure. And yet, it's still here. To get Cuba today, you first have to grasp the incredible endurance of its founding ideas. And just look at this timeline. It really shows you the sheer scale of that defiance. It kicks off with a triumph in '59, and right away, it's facing threats to its very existence. You've got the failed Bay of Pigs invasion, the beginning of a truly crippling U.S. embargo, and then, maybe the biggest blow of all, losing its main backer when the Soviet Union just disappears in 1991. And still, here we are. The revolution carries on. All right, that brings us to the next layer of this story, and it's arguably the most powerful external force that has shaped Cuba's destiny for 60 years, the American economic embargo. And let's be clear, this is so much more than just a policy. For Cubans, it's a constant, all-encompassing presence in their daily lives. So what are we actually talking about here? What is this embargo? Well, think of it like a complex, tightly woven net of sanctions. It touches almost every single part of the Cuban economy. It was put in place way back in the heat of the Cold War, and the goal was simple: to put maximum pressure on the government in Havana by completely cutting it off from its biggest and closest potential trading partner. Now, what's truly mind-boggling is just how total this economic siege is. I mean, it's not just about stopping American companies from selling stuff to Cuba. No, it goes way deeper. It bans financial transactions, it severely limits travel, and, this is the crucial part, it even extends its reach beyond U.S. borders. It basically forces international companies and banks to make a choice. You can do business with us, the U.S., or you can do business with Cuba, but not both. So, for instance, a company in Europe might be totally blocked from selling life-saving medical ventilators to a hospital in Cuba just because one tiny component, maybe just 10% of the tech inside, is American. That's how deep this thing really cuts. Now, from Washington's point of view, the official goal has always been pretty straightforward. They say the embargo isn't meant to be a punishment. Instead, it's a tool of leverage, something designed to, in their words, promote a peaceful transition to democracy and push for human rights on the island. But, as you can imagine, in Havana, that tool is seen very differently. It's seen as a weapon. For the Cuban government, the embargo, or as they call it, el bloqueo, the blockade, becomes the perfect explanation for pretty much all of the country's economic problems. It's an incredibly powerful rallying cry, right? It lets them blame an external enemy for internal issues and just doubles down on this narrative of heroic national resistance. But, this whole conflict isn't just about two governments staring each other down. It's really fueled by two incredibly passionate and totally opposing human forces: the revolutionary legacy that was forged on the island itself, and the powerful, unwavering political agenda of the exile community living abroad. And this comparison really lays out those two completely different worlds. Inside Cuba, the revolution story is all about anti-imperialism, national sovereignty, and social justice. But for so many in the exile community, especially in Miami, the mission couldn't be more different. It's singular: end the communist regime, and use their political influence in the US to make sure that hardline policy never, ever softens. And that influence, it's not just talk, it's real political power. You've got over 1.5 million Cuban Americans, and many of them are concentrated in Florida, a state that can literally decide US presidential elections. Because of that, their voice is incredibly potent. It's made any kind of major shift in US-Cuba policy a really, really difficult and often politically dangerous move for any American president to even consider. But of course, the world isn't the same as it was during the Cold War. Things have changed. And that US-led isolation, it's not the only game in town anymore. Cuba has found new allies, and in some cases, reconnected with old ones to help it play this very complicated geopolitical chess game. Two global heavyweights, Russia and China, have become absolutely critical lifelines. Russia provides diplomatic cover and economic aid, which kind of echoes their old Cold War alliance. China, on the other hand, has jumped in as a massive trade and investment partner. When you put them together, they give Havana just enough resources and leverage to take the edge off the American embargo's full impact. And all of this brings us right back to the island itself. Because Cuba now stands at this critical crossroads. The pressures from the outside are obviously huge, but let's not forget, so are the pressures from within. The country is facing this fundamental dilemma about what its own future is going to look like. You see, the government is trying to pull off this incredibly delicate balancing act. On one hand, they're trying to carefully open up the economy just a little bit, allowing for small private businesses, looking for foreign investment, all to try and breathe some life into a system that's been stagnating. But the challenge, the real trick, is how do you do that without completely undermining the core socialist principles of the very revolution you're trying to save? And that really leads us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? Which way is this going to go? Are we going to see a new chapter of normalization with the United States, maybe even the end of the embargo? Or is the island going to stay on its own unique, isolated path? A path that's been defined by defiance for so long. The truth is, there are no easy answers here, but the questions themselves, they're profound. The future of Cuba isn't just about one island's fate. It's this living, breathing case study in sovereignty, in ideology, and in the incredible, stubborn resilience of a revolution that has, for over 60 years, simply refused to be erased from the map. So maybe the real question we're left with is this. In a world where everything is always changing, what does it truly mean to resist?
At Geotectonics, our mission is to uncover these profound tectonic shifts, offering clarity in a world of complexity. If this analysis deepened your understanding, please like this video to support our work, share it with others who seek real insight, and subscribe to Geotectonics to ensure you never miss our next deep dive. We'll continue to explore the crucial geopolitical movements that define our time. Thank you for joining us.